We got the keys for our centre in December 23. So here we are now in 1 Courthouse Square, the Chocksullis LGBT Resource Centre. You're very welcome to our community room, and
I think it is that sense of belonging and place and making it really clear that it's for everyone. I think people have an idea of who the LGBT community is in their mind, and the culture in Ireland has an idea of who the LGBT community is, and I think we're trying to kind of break that down a bit in order to be able to reach those other parts of the community that are more marginalised and face multiple discriminations and marginalisations. And I think acknowledging that and stating it very blatantly that like we are here for LGBT travellers and the doors are open for LGBT migrants really ensures that all of the community can come in, and it's not this kind of homogenous group of kind of white settled Irish middle class Ireland. It's actually so much more than that.
We are different, all of us. I'm from South Africa, there's Zimbabwean, there's Ukrainian, there's someone from Palestine, there's someone from Irish, you understand? So maybe about 6, Jamaica, 7. So 7 different people. So now even the people that we work with, we take them, the volunteers, we take them to those conversations for change, and we chat to the locals. And they get to understand, we build kind of relationships. They now understand, okay, this is why these people are here. You know, asking difficult questions that you can't ask someone on the street. Why are you wearing hijab? Things like that, you know. Small chats, you know, they bring change to people.
For us, you know, within the Isle of May and also through the community development approach, it's not just about the physical barriers, it's also about the attitudinal barriers. So we would find, and why the community development approach was so important, because the narrative in wider society in Ireland when it comes to disability, unfortunately, it's well-meaning but it can be very harmful because it's very medicalised and it very much focuses on the impairment or the medical condition that the person is either born with or that they acquire later in life. So it's very much a rigid approach, and you know, looking after the disabled person, it's very passive and it doesn't bode well for the disabled person. It's not empowering, it's not about their equality, it's not about their rights. It can mean then that they're kind of siloed off into specialised services. Whereas with the community development approach and the disabled persons organisations approach, it's that we're turning that on its head and we're saying, you know, with the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Disabled People, for example, that DPOs locally and nationally and internationally need to be the go-to body that statutory and non-statutory bodies are engaging with. And again, because we've a mandate to do what we do. And with the Voice project, thanks to the funding that we get through the Community Development Programme, this is a reality.
My name is Naira Bilasi and I'm the Programme Manager of Amal Women Ireland. We are a community development project that provides support for Muslim women in Ireland. The main issue that any Muslim women, especially the women who wear hijabs, is that we're very visible. So we're easily targeted. We feel that we have to behave in a certain way because we carry on our shoulder the fact that we are Muslims. If we do something, we feel that we don't want to represent our community in a bad way. And imagine if you're a Muslim migrant, you're also carrying the weight of your community, the tradition that you came from. So because we are very visible, it's easy to be targeted by racist attacks or racist incidents or being discriminated somewhere. And it's a lot of pressure facing the Muslim women here.
My name is Sarah Stokes and I'm a community development worker with KTCM. That's Kilkenny Traveller Community Movement. And my role is working from the ground up with young travellers. Now we work with older traveller women and men as well, but my thing is working with the young travellers.
My name is Bridget Casey. I'm the coordinator of Clare Travel CDP. I'm also a member of the travel community. I've been working in human rights for travellers by people over the last 20 years. The key issues that affecting the traveller community in Clare is traveller accommodation. We have a number of travellers that want to live in traveller-specific accommodation but are not given the option to do so. And we see a big need now with the younger generation. A lot want to move into traveller-specific accommodation, but they're not given the opportunity. A lot are being forced into assimilation policy. The suicide rate is quite high within the traveller community. We have children now at the age of 9 years of age to 11 years of committing suicide, you know. There are a lot of young generation of travellers in Clare, you know, do face discrimination on a daily basis. You know, if they go to the shops, they're following around the shops, they don't even have a nightlife. And that is discrimination because of who you are.
My name is Susan Mkabela and I'm with the CDP project with Culture Migrant Center. People are being discriminated. Discrimination and racism has been the big barrier and big issues affecting our communities. It is very important for our culture to be part of the CDP project because we are the people that are working with the community to raise awareness on the burning issues like racism, like the housing barriers, like the access to health and education for migrants. We work with them from the bottom-up approach and also using the values from Community Work Ireland, which is collectivity, which is participation, which is fighting for social justice and human rights. Our work is not to detect of what the communities want, but we work with them for them to give us initiatives, working with the community to influence power, to influence policy. We want to build a community that will challenge power for a better future.
My name is Belinda Nugent. I am the Community Development Project Leader here in the Inner City Organisation network known as ICON. ICON is in the community 33 years, so it's a long time around.
My name is Nicola Gray and I'm a Community Development Worker here in ICON as part of the CDP. I live and work in the area.
How do we achieve the social change? Do you know, how do we achieve equality, social justice and human rights? And it is true, you know, applying the principles of engagement, empowerment and participation, but in collective decision making. Because of intergenerational poverty and intergenerational trauma that has existed in our community for so long, it is that trap, it is that hook, it is that way that these perpetrators bring in the vulnerable young children and exploit them.
There is certain areas within our community that, you know, one side of the street would be more modern and upbuilt and the other side of it would be very disadvantaged, broken down, dampness, windows, whatever that might be. So as a result of that response, that community response, what we're being presented with in that moment or in that time is how we manage that. And just the resources that we have available to us at that time.
It was community people wanting to make a response, and it came out of a shared experience. It came out of an interest in supporting people, but it maybe was on a very humanitarian level. And I think as the work progressed, we realised there was more to be done. There wasn't just a job to support individuals in their journey, in the asylum journey, or support people who'd come here to live and work. That actually we had to be challenging some of the structural problems and changes and challenges that were in Donegal, that we had to maybe make some inroads into policy formation or policy change, or certainly address where there's inequities and inequalities and issues. And that's not supporting individuals, that's actually trying to create systemic change.
I think since the marriage equality referendum, there seems to be a societal view that there is no longer a need for LGBT advocacy and representation in Ireland. However, that's not really the case on the ground. Homophobia, biphobia, transphobia is still quite rampant and in some places accepted. some critical issues facing the LGBT community that we noticed in our project at the moment centre around systemic discrimination and oppression, and what that would look like in real life is difficulties accessing employment, education, housing, and then experiences of discrimination accessing services, healthcare services, or additional supports.
3, 2, 1. Thank you very much.
My name is Amy McGlynn. I'm a community development worker here working with Longford Roma and New Communities Community Development Project. Roma Day is a celebration of identity and culture. Roma have faced a lot of scrutiny in the past couple of years, especially with the rise of the far right and the rise of anti-migrant sentiments. It's important to showcase who the Roma actually are and to kind of combat stereotypes and negative prejudice that is towards the Roma communities. So days like this really embedded what it means to be a part of a community, but it also showcases the real value of community development.
Some of the issues facing travellers in Kilkenny, I suppose it's the same in every part of the country. It's just extreme racism. There's a lot of hatred out there for the community, and me as a traveller with young traveller family, I don't want them to go through what I went through. I learned to adapt and disguise myself when needed, so that I didn't face racism. And then that kind of produced a sense of shame around my identity. And I just don't want my children, I don't want the future generation to feel that or instill that in them. It's been instilled in them, and it's terrible this day and age that that's still happening.
Do I like swimming? Yes. But these are not mine. These are my son's goggles. I love swimming, yeah. Migration has been here, for centuries. People have been moving from here to Scotland, from Scotland to here, and people have been moving from here to America, from America back to here. So it's not something that is, particularly new. It's something that has been there. The world is based on, an economic concept of capitalism, and people that come into Ireland are victims of that system, whether it is because the capitalism robs their countries of resources and starves them of opportunities, but it could, most of the reasons are because of war, which itself is, fueled by that system as well. Capitalism fuels war as well, because it's a war over resources and so on, and people are caught in between. Nobody wants to leave their home and come and stay in a different country completely. It's heart-wrenching, to actually make that decision, because you are moving away from your comfort zone. But circumstances force people to eventually choose to come where they can have peace,
Okay, I think making change happen is very, very slow. And the small steps that you make, I think we should hold those and celebrate those.
If we have been working on anti-racism campaigns and initiatives for years, why is it not working? Why is the opposite happening and racism is rising and the far-right action is increasing? So what's wrong? What are we doing wrong, and how can we avoid it? And how can we reach to the people in between who are not taking any sides and just sitting back and watching? So that was the discussion for today. And it's one of many coming meetings to discuss the work that we can do to combat racism in Dublin 8.
So with the groups that we are setting, we're building power through empowerment of the leaders, the group leaders, and also the groups themselves to challenge power. We are not just creating groups for fun or those initiatives that we do, but we want to create a community. We want to create a community that will challenge power, and as a community and as a one voice, we're creating a big voice that will challenge power and challenge policy.